Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to adjust the headlight level on your 4th gen Toyota 4runner. So I have a 2007. The reason I'm doing this is twofold actually. So I just got new LED headlight bulbs to replace the old factory halogen bulbs, and so I'm driving down the road tonight and someone flashes their brights at me, so this car is also has a lift kit on it, so that's the biggest factor. So when you put a lift kit on your car, a lot of times it lifts the front of the car more than the rear, to get rid of that, the way it comes from the factory where it's kind of sloped downward. So once you put a lift kit on the car, you should adjust the headlights down to compensate for that. Now, I never did that. I put the lift kit on this car about over a year ago, and I never adjusted it. And I never had a problem with the old light bulbs because they just weren't as bright. So I never really had anyone flashing their brights at me, so it must not have been a problem with the dimmer light bulbs. But now that I have these brighter LED bulbs, I do need to adjust the headlight pattern lower so that it doesn't blind people in oncoming cars as much. Okay, so this view is behind the passenger side headlight. You'll notice there is this very rusty looking bolt, and there's a little slot above it. So you have two options. You can either take a Phillips head screwdriver and aim it down this slot, and it actually there's actually teeth on the side of this bolt. So you put your Phillips head in and spin it, and it actually turns this bolt. Or you can just take an 8mm socket or wrench and put it straight on the bolt head itself to turn it. Same thing on the driver's side. You can see there is the slot, and right down here is that bolt that you turn. Okay, now this might be a little bit confusing, but I'm going to show you which way to turn it, to lower it or raise it. So I have my wrench on the bolt head. To lower the headlight beam, you're going to turn the bolt clockwise, as if you're tightening the bolt. So like this is going to lower it. Like this is going to raise it. So clockwise lowers it, counterclockwise raises it. So it's confusing because it'll be kind of the opposite way if you're using a screwdriver. Because there's these little gear teeth, I don't know if you can see that, but there's these little gear teeth to turn it with the screwdriver. Because of that, when you're turning it with a screwdriver, you got to turn it the other way. So if you want the bolt to go clockwise, you've got to turn your screwdriver counterclockwise. So if you're using a screwdriver, counterclockwise is going to lower the beam, but then clockwise would raise the beam. And so it's the same on the other side. So it's not mirrored on either headlight. It's the same thing as far as turning the bolt clockwise and counterclockwise. Alright, so here's what I'm doing. I'm adjusting the level of the headlights. I'm about maybe 15 feet away from my garage door. It's a white garage door. So I can clearly see the headlight pattern. And as you can tell right now, the driver's side headlight is aimed much higher up than the passenger side. So right now I'm getting that driver's side right about where I want it, and then I'm going to raise the passenger side to match it. So stick my hand back in here and find the bolt to adjust it. So as I turn this, you should be able to see headlight raise up. So it happens very slowly. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right about where I want it. So now I'm going to try get the other side level with it. Alright, should be raising up a little bit now. Still a little bit lower, but they're almost even now. That may be about good. Okay, so here's the next test you can do. Now I'm going to start backing up a little bit. I started about maybe 15 feet from the garage door. And I'm just going to start backing up down my driveway. And if I've done this right, my headlight pattern should go down as I back up. Because if it's pointing downward, the farther away you are, the lower the pattern will be. So as you can see, mine's a little bit too high still, I think, because it may have gone down a little bit, but it's still about where it was before, right about at that second panel on the garage door. So I'm gonna lower them just a tad each side, and then I'll see how it looks. Okay, so I'm gonna start backing up the car now, and I'll see if the headlight pattern on the garage door gets lower. So it looks like it is barely getting lower now that I'm about, maybe 30 feet away, 40 feet away. And you can kind of see on the fence the line kind of sloping downward along the fence. So I think that's perfect. I have it where I want it. I'm gonna do one more test by just standing in front of the car and seeing what it looks like. Okay, so I'm standing about 15 feet in front of the car. I'm about almost 6 feet tall for reference. So if I start to kneel down, you can see now it's getting really bright. So right now the camera is about maybe 3 feet off the ground at the most. So this is good. And now I'm about maybe 4 feet off the ground, and you can see it just got way less bright. Now I'm maybe 40 feet away, This is at head height, and this is now maybe, you know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet off the ground right here, and this is where the pattern starts to get really bright. So I think that's good enough that oncoming traffic isn't going to be blinded, and hopefully they'll stop flashing their lights at me as they drive past, because that gets pretty annoying. For reference, here's my other car, which is extremely low to the ground, so I'm going to do a test sitting in this car right here. And if I can sit in this car this close to the 4runner and not be totally blinded, I'd say that's a win. In the video right now, it looks like it may be too bright in the video, and it's definitely bright where I'm sitting right now, but it's not so bright that I'm blinded. And also keep in mind I'm still about within 30 feet of the car, so that's really close. So yeah, I'd say that's good.